Hello, hello, my queens, and welcome. Welcome to another episode, the first in 2026 of X and the Single Mom podcast. I'm your host, Yasmin. I cannot wait for you to enjoy the year that I have planned and hoping everything goes as planned. I want to talk to you today about something very serious. You know, for the past few episodes, I've been doing a series called Thriving, Not Just Surviving, with multiple topics. And we're going to continue in that frame today. So today, in this series of Thriving, Not Just Surviving, we're going to be talking about letting go. Letting go of what, you may wonder? Well, we're going to let go of survival mode. And I'm here to help you. This podcast is just like an overview. We're going to do lots of things to help make this a reality once we all be engaged. So I'm going to start again by saying hello, queens. I'm your host, and I want you to think of me as like your big sister, your auntie, your godmommy. In today's society, we seem like we don't really value that wisdom that came before us. However, I know it's the stepping stone to everything I know. So if this is for you, it's for you. And if it's not, it's not. And I kind of wish it was. But it is what it is. All right. So we're going to talk about survival mode. And when we talk about that, I was so knee deep in it. And when I was thinking about this podcast, I wasn't really sure, like, how am I going to share and articulate my journey with you so it makes sense. And since I'm a trainer, I kind of put it like in workshop training mode. So the main thing I want to share is that when it comes to survival mode, I want you to slowly meditate, pray, whatever works for you, on how you can slowly let that go. But what we're going to do is provide some tools, so it's not like just something like, okay, I'm going from survival mode, which I gotta let go, into thriving. It's not. It takes time, and it's different for everyone depending on the circumstance. So I don't want you to live in constant crisis. I want you to breathe. And I know that there was a song again, I think it was Tony Braxton, I'm not really sure, but it was called Breathe Again. And that is just really relevant to me. I want you to breathe again, and I want you to blossom. All right, let's go over a couple things. And again, like I said, I'm in my trainer mode for my queens. What is survival mode? I was like really thinking about this, and I was just like, well, what is survival mode? Well, here's my take on it. It's where we operate like a machine. Seriously. Doing what has to be done, period. For me, always on autopilot. With a little bit of rest, but a little bit of joy too. And zero, and I do mean zero margin for error. Like, you just can't make no mistake. It has to be an act of nature or something. So for me, for the most part, my mindset was how I just make it through the day. But the goal is, at that time, for many of you, and it was for me, is to just like survive and just live and try not to drown. But I feel like if you stay in constant survival mode too long, it becomes like this sort of like prison. Obviously not physical prison, but like a mental prison. And we don't want that. We always expect that life is going to be a struggle. So we have to learn to see like on the outside of that, like what's after the struggle. And I can tell you that I struggle, but there is, with determination and all the other things that we're going to talk about. There's life after that struggle. So you can thrive. So life, we feel guilty sometimes. I also realized that. Like, I used to feel bad when I was having like a good time that, did not involve my children. And I always thought that I had to always be on point. And I think that until you're absorbing what I'm saying about survival mode, you might not even realize that you're operating in survival mode. I didn't really realize it until afterward, because it was what it just was. And I guess I didn't have a title for it. So here's one of the ways I realized that I thought I was in survival mode. Like, I didn't feel like I deserved any like real peace. Like, I only slept like 6 hours. I was like always on, just like, I don't know, like attention. And I would like expect the worst. Like, if I got a phone call from the school, it's like, what happened? And the school was just calling me and that particular day to ask me to be part of the cookie drive because I always do so well. So that was me. Constantly letting everyone around me think I have it and I have it all in control when I know I don't. For me, the hardest part was asking for help. So I didn't even want to ask for help, even though sometimes I felt like I was drowning. Another thing that I realized was everything to me was just like so serious, even if it was like small stuff, because I just expected it to be. And it's not until I put it in perspective or thought about it that I realized, like, it's not that serious. I mean, a few things were, but most things weren't. And then I think I was like emotionally numb. And I'm glad during that period for me, I didn't really get in any serious relationship. So that was good, because that worked out good for me once I came into a good, healthy one. But that's for another podcast. Anyway, another way that we can think about survival mode is, let's like take survival out of our head and think about what it would mean to thrive, and then think about some positive things that you could tell yourself. Like, for me, I had to give myself permission to heal. Let myself know it was okay, because I was like so hurt and so down in the dumps and so many negative things. And I told myself one day, it's all right to heal, Yasmin. And another thing that comes to mind is that the right people. Barbra Streisand had a song out, I do believe, if I'm quoting right. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. It's no reason not to realize that you need your people, your tribe, your folks, your family, like the folks that really love you in the right way. And I gave myself permission, this is really serious, to just like let go of the pain. Also, I realized I couldn't operate in chaos. That's another symptom of survival mode. So you have to let go of the chaos. And remember, again, all these things are mini steps and they take time, but you just start and we'll help you along the way. And don't be afraid to take some downtime for you. Like I told you in other podcasts, schedule it. You schedule dentist appointments. You schedule stuff for the kids. You schedule doctor's appointments, things you have to do for your parents. You schedule everything. So also schedule me time. All right? Do that. And just remember this. You are allowed. You deserve to thrive. I remember thinking, I'm so strong. Like, if I'm so strong, why am I suffering? And then I felt like I had to always be strong. But here's what I realized. When I let go and let myself feel that, warm and fuzzy softness, there's nothing wrong with that. There's also strength in that. You just have to figure out, like, what does that mean? there's peace in finding joy. And also just realizing that you may not be doing it with your partner for whatever reasons. And since my time, it's some serious reasons why there's so many single moms. Like when I was growing up, there were, or I would say in my generation during bringing my children up in the night, it was that it's just, it wasn't like a thing. I didn't look forward to that. It was mainly because of divorce. Like I didn't want to be a single mom, but again, that's for another podcast. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about letting go of survival mode. And remember what I told you before, it's not a one-time thing. And I'm going to put together a bonus for you, checklist, so you can have some reference material. I'm working on all these good things. All right. You have to figure out, like, what is your pattern? Like, how do you make it work? So you have to figure out that. Support. What type of support do you have? Learn to say no. That's a simple one. Make sure you redefine your strength. So you have to do a number of these small things to let go of surviving. So you can, what, ladies? Thrive. Queens, my queens. Here's what I see for you, and you deserve it. I see single mom that's rested. Yes, you can find a way to get some rest. Who laughs a lot. Who's living her life with just like, like realness, boldness, and more importantly, allowing herself to heal. But here's what I found that really worked for me was I had to make it a point to just choose peace every day. All right? I promise you there's another part of you hidden inside it's just like waiting for permission. So I'm hoping as someone who's went through this and came out victorious on the other side, you please listen to me. You do not have to live your life in just survival mode. You absolutely do not. And I'm going to help you even some more with some of those tools. And these things are just from personal experience. I don't have a degree in this. I don't have anything in this. But I do have a PhD when it comes to being a successful single mom, trainer, and lots of other good things. All right? I want to close this segment of the podcast by saying I want you to start to release survival mode. I want you to welcome rest in your life, peace, help, and healing. I don't want you to feel like you have to fight all the time. And don't think you have to fight to be worthy. You are worthy. Just realize this, you're worthy now. And you're on the road from surviving to thriving, my queens. All right? There's going to be one or two other episodes on this series, and then I'm going to start a whole new nice one for you guys, and you're going to be so excited. And I'm trying with everything I have, all right, and not claim the illness that I feel that stops me from being with you as often as I would like. So please forgive me. All right, we're into the bonus segment of X and the Single Mom podcast, XSM, as I like to call it, queens. I have a question that came to me because if you go to www.xandthesinglemom.com, you can leave me any information on the contact page. You can also listen to episodes. You can do a lot. You can email me at xsmpodcast@gmail.com and send me an email. And I get them from time to time. Here's one from a mom that was in a bit of a situation. She let me know that her daughter's father had gotten into some trouble, and I'm assuming it had something to do with maybe jail time and just negative stuff, but we're not here to judge. We're here to share and help. And anyway, he got into trouble and he had to stay in the state that he was in at that time for legal reasons. And she had moved out of state. Anyway, her visits with the dad is on Wednesday. But he lives 3 hours away, and that's 6 hours total driving each way. He doesn't have reliable transportation, and she's just tired of like taking it on. So she let me know that part of her doesn't care anymore, but there's part of her that knows it's important to try to help and foster that relationship with the dad. But she's just disgusted. Don't want to go out of her way anymore. So she wanted to know, should she help him, or is that giving the wrong lesson to her daughter? And the lesson is that he's not learning accountability. So anyway, I'm thinking let's take this apart. And first of all, my queen, I hope you're listening, the young single mom who asked for this advice. I want to start off by saying, by no means are your feelings that you're conflicted. They're valid. I mean, you're human. So I'm going to assume from what you wrote, even though I don't have any detail, that you probably went over backwards trying to make this work. And I have an idea that you've been going through this for a minute, even though I don't have the details yet. So I guess you're tired. And I also think that you're not trying to be petty and you're just exhausted. But trust me, been there, done that. I lived out of state with my oldest son's father. But let's think that first and foremost, it's about the child. So when the adults try to figure it out, we know that really our babies should know as least as possible. All right? So we want our children, they're adaptable. They won't break. We can make it they'll figure it out in time that daddy can just see you once a month. Suppose your husband was a fisherman or someone that was in the military. They go months without seeing children. So you can figure out a way to make that work that doesn't feel like it's all on you. And if it is an inconvenience for you every Wednesday, then the real part of me wants to say, well, okay, you're doing that for your daughter. However, I have come up with some solutions because it's not all about what I think, it's about what's realistic. Okay, so I think you could explore some virtual options. So instead of you doing it every Wednesday, maybe you do it every other Wednesday, and then every Wednesday it's virtual. Or maybe you do it once a month, and the other 3 is virtual. But it's important that he sees his daughter on that Wednesday. And technology makes it easier than it was in my day. Anyway, so you can, if your daughter's older, help her understand a little bit without letting her know all the nuances and everything. So a child needs to stay in a child's place. You don't necessarily have to give them all the great detail. I find that the newer generation, or I would say the younger generation, feels like they have to explain everything. No, the facts, give her love, give her a kiss, and that's it. So maybe somehow, I don't know your financial situation, you didn't disclose that. Maybe you could get someone to pay for the ride for him. I'm not sure. The only thing I want to say is that accountability, emotional intelligence, all that has nothing to do with it. Not really. You're not here to teach the daughter that lesson with that particular scenario. The objective is every Wednesday, the father has rights to see the child, limited, out of state, and whatever, and he can't make it. How can you help him help, at least temporarily, so he can see his daughter? So you could try a variety of things, and what works, and what doesn't. So what I'm saying is, to me, accountability, that don't have anything to do with it. So you can hold the father accountable and help create special moments for your daughter. And I'm thinking that it's not about saving him, because that's the impression I got from you. It's about saving and enhancing the love your daughter has in her heart for her father. So basically, here's what I really say. Choose to help him, because I think that's the loving thing to do for your daughter. But also set boundaries. So, but whatever you do, make sure that your daughter doesn't have to carry any of that. Like, none of that. Like, no. It's absolutely not her burden. All right? So, I think that this has been a very wonderful time that we've had together. And I'm so happy to be back. I want you to know that I missed you. And I'm going to try really hard, extra hard, and say some prayers for me. All right? Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of X and the Single Mom Podcast. And I'm your host, Yasmin. Thank you, Queens. Thank you for listening. And so long for now. Don't forget, you can hit us up at www, and I like just saying that because we don't need that anymore, xsmpodcast.com. And you can email me at xsmpodcast@gmail.com. Have a wonderful, wonderful time until we meet again. And I can't wait. So I won't say goodbye. I'll do like my mom told me. And I'll say, so long for now. So long, Queens. So long.